Today we're going to be doing a Drupal website, and basically one of the things that makes Drupal so different is that you're able to have a full enterprise level website, high traffic intensive CMS from the get-go. And one of the things that is really particularly very interesting about Drupal is the flexibility that it also has. Like with theming, with modules, you can do something like headless. You can apply some API implementations when it comes to having modules and many other stuff that you have. Basically, it's a nice tool that you can have for generating high traffic websites with a solid foundation. Based on Symfony, you can build stuff with composers, and you have a very nice large community that can help you create some of this type of tools there. So if you can see here, for example, you can have here's some of the toolings that you have. You can create websites for Drupal for retail, fintech. You can actually have things for if you try to make for hospitals and stuff like that. There's also e-commerce, travel and tourism. You have all the toolkits that you have. Now, one thing that is very true is that you can find from some other developers is that if you can create something from Laravel, Node.js, and stuff from scratch, that is something that, if you feel comfortable with that, go ahead, be my guest. But one of the things that makes it so interesting about this Drupal is that it has multiple type of like updates included with this. It has also flexibility. It has a solid core built on Symfony, and basically you have a lot of like nice community basically working on this type of projects there. So which is no surprise why you have some websites that are built like especially like government basis or after that other type of use cases that you can see for Drupal being created on this type of stack there. Now, before we get started, we have I just want to make sure that you have a very easy to install, and the easy is actually the keyword for this, because if you cannot make it easy, you will not make it. So there's so many ways to install this. The first thing that you can go with is lamp base. I don't particularly like this way because you can have multiple type of like you can have multiple websites, but you have to create a database. You have to manage all the applications, Linux based, and all the stuff. And if you have Windows, you have SAM, which is another type of way of doing that. But technically, these are very good for if you want to get started with like just practicing some PHP, practicing some options there. But there's a better way to do this thing rather than creating an environment that has been from 2005. Another stuff is like actually Docker place. You can create your own Docker. You can just pull this image from Docker image, create a container, and just run your applications from that container. But still, you'll have to know a little bit more of Docker, which also can be time consuming, especially if you just want to go from the get-go, just simple lines in there. And you still have to make a Docker compose. And I will basically, don't worry, I'll share all these links if you want to go that way. I'm just going to show you just a better way that I just been using for the past year. I still like the other ways, but I have a preference now because I don't want to waste my time just building this thing from scratch. But you should know this thing. I just want to make sure that you know that what we're going to show you is basically built on this type of technologies. It's just a nice wrapper, and you can have basically a Drupal container in your local machine set up like that. If you want to go and do deployments, that's another stuff that we can talk about. So let's go ahead. We have this tool called DDEV, and basically it's an environment where you can have everything you need to do. So you have basically a contained environment. You have Docker. You have basically a database set up with that. It's kind of like Docker Compose on steroids, because not only you have a nice tooling that will be wrapped around a container, you have also everything that you need to work with. So you have PHP, Node.js, you have Python, sometimes Python experimental there. You can run PHP scripts, or you can run a Node.js application based on DDEV as well. But the thing that is actually the most interesting part for this is the CMS quick starts. Now, CMS basically is just saying CMS, but you can have like you can see all the stuff here. You have PHP, you have some of the Django stuff. I think it's experimental, but you can still work with it. Laravel is a pretty solid one. I tried also like the Symfony one, which is an interesting one. WordPress, WordPress has its own like nice stuff and bad stuff at the same time. But what are you gonna do? The technology is popular. That's what you need to build sometimes. So go ahead, go crazy. So that's exactly one of the things that we're going to use. We're going to go with Drupal because Drupal is awesome. So now we have Drupal 10, you have Drupal 11 if you want to try the dev side. I really don't recommend it until you have something solid, but go ahead if you have the option. Drupal 9, Drupal 6, 7, and all this kind of stuff. Don't use it because that's going to be end of life. Actually, like Drupal 9 is no longer maintained. So why would you want to like support something that is no longer maintained? Just go ahead and go with the stuff that is really maintained, because that's exactly what you need to go. So we have right now, I think I have another tab extra, so let's scale it before we get this thing started there. And then after that, we can go ahead and just create this, I just kind of copy and paste basically. Just say like DDEV config, and after that, I'm going to create this in this folder that I created called natural code. Just going to make my first Drupal site, and for some reason I just copied the wrong one, but who cares really? Just go ahead with start. And once you have like this option there, okay, I have like fail to start macOS, DDEV config, and the reason why is because my computer doesn't know Control V and Control Z. That's perfect. So let's just delete this one and just say config and natural code. And we got one option here that says unable to find configure database because database doesn't match database. Okay. Maybe it's because I have another one called natural code again. Let me just go ahead and remove rev natural code, and after that, let's go ahead and just call it another name, like say natural code Drupal, because why not? And I just deleted that natural code thing. So let's go ahead and just say natural code Drupal, and just go ahead and say this. Config again. Great. Now we have that option because I didn't know, and that's important too because you'll find this frustrating errors. But sometimes it's because you have something already named the same thing. Just choose another name, it'll be fine. Then after that, we go DDEV start. You basically are going to see the DDEV start. Now, usually the first time you'll see a bunch of images being downloaded there. I don't want to waste your time. Kind of waste your time with this thing, but I don't want to waste your time by getting all the nitty and gritty what's going on behind this. But basically what it's doing is you're getting an image from Docker and basically creating environment based on this. That's why you have like the DDEV web, basically saying that DDEV web it's existed there. After that, natural code DB basically just have like something created for that. That's kind of like a database container. And if you're curious about this, you can say describe, I believe it was the term. Yeah, that's when you have everything that you're using, inside that. So if you want to use, say, for example, you don't want to use like basically maybe you want to use MongoDB as a different service, and that's not included with this DB because it includes only like MariaDB, MySQL, I think Postgres, and basically that's kind of like the stuff that it supports. And if you want something like Mongo, then you have to go something different there. Nice thing too, and this is something that usually gets kind of like, it's a very good testing tool for your web form submissions and stuff like that. It's Mailpit. That's exactly one of the things that you need to do. Is we're going to do some testing with web forms in case you want to do some just custom HTML that you want to have included in there, but that's technically one of the things they have. So let's go ahead with the other one. Right now we have an environment set up, so let's create the composer. Basically just recommend that just downloading for Drupal 10, I think 26. That's kind of like the current one. I think it's June 1st, so that's actually the current one that we have. And as you can see in here, just copy and paste in there. Just make sure you copy the things in the right order, because that's kind of like what happens in there. So technically, okay, we have the installation of recommended things, extracting there, and let's wait until, there you go. So you have everything that you have for scaffolding. You have core project messages, basically. See, I think that's actually just a package that says, congratulations, you have Drupal. Really not a big type of going in there. All the symphonies, this is kind of like for core recommended. That's the one that's going to tell us that Drupal is installed. And then after that, it's going to update and create all of that. So great. Now that we have everything created, just go ahead and config update. That's kind of like saying that in case there's something that to update, or I'm really not sure. There wasn't this one before, but I guess that's something we'll just follow in there. Now, after that, let's have to create one of the most powerful tools for Drupal, and that's exactly one of the things that we're going to use for module development, and even like not even for module development, it's just for installing configurations and everything like that. So make sure you have this one installed. Then after that, let's go ahead and just install the site. That's how easy it is. Just basically installation there, because we didn't have install site. We deleted the thing. We'll have to go through the process of clicking that option, setting up, installing that. We don't want to do that. Just basically just copy and paste this thing. Now this one basically generates a link. Just make sure you copy this link, and then after that, once you have, for example, DDEV launch, which is basically just saying launch what you already have in there, then we're gonna have this launch inside in here. Now, oh yeah, we didn't have to copy the DDEV launch. I don't really know why I copied DDEV launch. But yeah, that's technically it. Now let's copy and paste this one because I'm not sure why. Copy to the launch, and there you go. Now we have a fully running Drupal site. This is actually built on Olivero, so you have everything, the basic stuff. That's why you don't have the hover thing. Now, if you want to install something, it's really easy. Just type DDEV composer, and let's say we want to have require. I think it's called admin toolbar. Not recall there. Yeah, I think it's called admin toolbar. So you have like composer, require admin toolbar, then Drupal, and core dev. Core dev is actually just something that you want to have in case you want to do some development on the backend, which is kind of like we're going to do part of this. But for now, we just focus on site building, and say, for example, we want to have a nice touch of just every time we hover this thing, we want to have click on here, and after that, see what we can do. We want to have something nice there. So this is where Drush come in place. So we have png enable and pn enable, and after that it was admin toolbar, and there you go. You have successfully admin toolbar set up, and now we can have that drop down, which is a nice thing extension because we don't have to click in here, click on that, and have multiple clicks before we can do an action or take an action. Here it is, for example, the Drupal inside installed, and after that, everything that we can have. Here's some pages. Right now, there's only one page, which is the home page, which is why it's all the other pieces of content that you see. And that's technically it. Now you have a full Drupal site, and we'll go through each one of this for site creation and see how you can create a more like custom experience with Drupal. Now, if you don't want to go through all that and you just say, hey, I don't want to go and install DDEV, install Docker, install everything, there's another option. There's really another option. And it's called Simply Test. Simply Test is just, you're going to have a Drupal environment created for you. Let's say, for example, I chose the Umami demo, which is kind of like a fully custom made live Drupal site. I think it's for a restaurant. And then after that, you can try it out there. And here it is. Now you click on here, it will create all that, but I didn't want to waste your time showing how it's created. I just want to show you what you can have. You can see here it has that, that translator thing, translation for multiple languages there. You have some of the landing pages in here. Not the best looking site. Sometimes I think it's pretty old type of design, but really it just shows you what you can do with this thing from this option here. Now, I believe it's like, if I'm not mistaken, I think you have an option for that. I think it's called admin, but I could be wrong. Yeah, admin, perfect. The best way to hack some site. Now, one thing that I just can tell you this, is like this site, if you add admin and change content in there, it's really not going to affect anything because this site is just for demonstration purposes. It's going to be destroyed once you close the window and everything like that. But yeah, technically that's one thing too. Now that's kind of like, basically this is a Drupal site. You can have, you can see the content in here. You can see, for example, if you notice in here, we don't have that toolbar thing because Umami doesn't have that option there, but you can see what you can have. It's an option here. Now I believe this one is still in English. Yeah, it's still in Spanish. That's why it was saying different language there. But that's exactly one of the things that you can have. If you can go into an article, let's say we can go into this article and see, for example, some of the layouts or editing. We can go edit and see what is the content inside of this. Then after that, we can say translation, say that, hey, that translation is really not that 101. We can see the translation here, and this is what is going to be displayed once you try to have this in Spanish, and you can edit it out, of course. This is actually kind of like a Drupal site being just already created for you, and you can have even something like if you want to have an archive, you want to have deleted or just like a draft thing, and before you can have kind of like a workflow for this type of situations there. Then after that, you can have well, I think they have an option for layouts, and you can see how the layout is being created. So you could have this section for content, and you can have another section. Maybe you can have another block being set up. You can have a 2-column thing, and after that, everything else looks different. That's one of the things that you can have created with this. And this is simply testing. This is just you going into the site and test whatever you want to have. In this case, for example, we can have I think it's called admin toolbar. That's the one we have. Now we can select what site we want to choose or what version we want to choose. Let's choose the last one because it's exactly what it is. And this is how you can see the page being built. This might take a while. Honestly, you already seen it. There's really no reason for have that. It takes a while just really to create all the page and all of this. But the point is, the Drupal is a versatile tool to have, and it's a nice, easy to install, easy to add, easy to update. Say for example, like I just have something like admin toolbar, have a different version to just type DDEV, then after that composer, and then after that say that require, or I think it's update, one of those two. I need to say the version of let's say Drupal, and then after that say admin toolbar, and usually that will take me to the last one, but I think there's another. Oh yeah, that's not a colon, you need a slash, and that's basically telling me like, okay, conversion has been updated, running update on composer for admin toolbar, and if it's already on the latest side, there's really not a need to update there. So that's technically one of the things that has a very powerful tool for Drupal and DDEV. Now we'll talk about deployment if there's a need for that. I mean, we can always deploy this thing DDEV for, or even like not really DDEV, but the toolings for AWS. There's another type of like ways we can deploy it on hostings. Right now, think of DDEV as a way for you to learn. It's a tool place. It's your own workshop. That's exactly what you need to think about DDEV, and it's just basically, it's wonderful that we have such a tool like that. Now, if you want to go nitty and gritty, we can go ahead and see what is kind of like being done with DDEV. And let's see, we can see here the configurations that you can have. And DDEV has an also very extensive documentation to know what you can use in order to have that. Say, for example, I have MariaDB right now, and say, no, MariaDB is really not a nice, that's not a nice database. I want Postgres, because Postgres is awesome. I'm kind of like one of those Postgres people that just loves to have that, that structure, whatever it is. I never use Postgres, but I guess that's something that probably will be checked in the future if you guys want. Then after that, we can go ahead and say that, hey, you know what, we have that set up in there. I know it's for, it's for simple apps, but, well, not really simple apps, but at least something gives you some flexibility that sometimes MySQLDB doesn't have. Okay, so that's technically all of it. Let's go ahead and see our sample here. So if we can go ahead, we have that user /login, and as always, admin, and there you go. That's the test. Yeah, that's Chrome telling me don't be stupid, change your admin password. That's how you test a module. In case you don't know what a module does, that's how you test it. It will create an environment, it will create an option, and you'll be good to go. So I hope you like this simple demo, and we'll be doing more about Drupal stuff when it comes to site building and how to get yourself started. But if you want to try it, I highly suggest you get DDEV set up on your computer. If you have a Windows, if you have Mac, if you have a Linux. If you have Linux, it's going to be a lot easier. But if you have Windows, I think you have to work around with one of those. But DDEV has an option for installation, Docker installation, DDEV installation for Windows, Linux, and even if you want to use Gitpod, which is something that has been very popular, you don't really need to have your own local environment. You can have Gitpod to do that environment for you. That's another way to do that. Go ahead, feel free. I really like to have something really in my machine there because it kind of works for me to have that. I mean, all the code is going to be in the GitHub anyways, or whatever Git repository, Git-based repository you're going to use, unless you use kind of like that. I think it's Subversion. That's the old ones. But yeah, that's exactly one of the things that you need to have in order to set up that thing correctly there. So thank you very much for watching this. I hope this has been good for you. I hope I didn't waste your time. We're going to go ahead and work around now on the next video. Not just now it's not going to be just installation. We're going to go with site building, and possibly we're going to go with some theme development, which is pretty exciting to see that we can have some of those components created there. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.